No way. The Brewers actually lost to a pitcher that had never pitched before in the major leagues and a left-hander. Tell me it isn't so. We'll talk about that. But I'm encouraged by what I saw from Julio Teheran and encouraged for the future. But man, stop me if you heard this before. Got to score some runs. We'll get to that and all coming up on this episode of Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, Julio Teheran just pitched his heart out, and it's a shame because the Brewers have been shut out 8 times this year. That's awful. That is awful. That is awful that 8 times this year the Brewers have not scored a run in a game. Added first place. That's got to be some sort of record. That's got to be this late in the season and be shut out 8 times. Where's the Elias sports service or whatever they're called? Remember Elias used to come up? I think they still do. I think they're owned by ESPN these days, but yeah, 2-0 loss in Cincinnati. Lost to a guy who, a left-hander, top 100 prospect in MLB pipeline, Andrew Abbott. This guy's a good pitcher. Made his major league debut. Brewers didn't have a hit through the first several innings. Finally scratched through. Joey Wiemer, 2 doubles on the night with his new mullet. And that was it. That was it. So the Brewers couldn't score. But I was encouraged by Julio Teheran and what I saw from him. His 3 starts right now. The guy is 1-2. He should be 3-0. He was great again. Has allowed just 2 earned runs, 2 home runs, 2 home runs he allowed. And that was it. That should be good enough to get a win. Pitching into the 7th inning, 2 runs. And I know it's tough to sweep teams, but my God, that 8 shutouts that's very odd. That's not championship level baseball. Every time I think this team is going to maybe turn the corner, but man, this is an odd team. Just really is. But I was encouraged by Teheran. And I know it's only 3 starts, but 3 starts to me, if this guy can continue to go out there and give great efforts like this, his ERA is under 2 in these 3 starts, but you add Woodruff, Corbin Burns. I know some of you are down on Corbin Burns, but Corbin Burns is still great. Wade Miley, Adrian Hauser's your 5th guy. If he can, piece together games like he did on Sunday, and he got something there in a starting rotation. I've never been worried about the pitching on this team, which I can't always say about Brewer history in the past. My God. The offensive struggles in watching this team, let's face it, they got down 1-2-0 already in the middle innings, and we thought, all right. Have the Brewers when's the last time they've come back from a 2-3-run deficit this year? Have they done it in May? Have they done it in June? I mean, I don't know. Just some of these bad games run together. I'm sure it's been done. My God, the comeback kids, they ain't. And I'm sorry to be negative because they won 3 of 4 in Cincinnati. I mean, they won 3 and 4 in Cincinnati. We'll get to more of this coming up a little bit. I've been introduced myself. Hi there, Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good to have you along on our podcast, on our downloads, on our various platforms, Google, Spotify. Hit us up on Apple as well. I lay them all out on Twitter. And, of course, YouTube. You get the video version. Download. Well, I'm sure you all have YouTube. But hit Locked On Brewers in the search section. Hit that subscribe button once you get to us. Hit that little bell. It's going to alert you every time we drop an episode of Locked On Brewers because we are here for you every day. Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Great to have you along here. And we are here 7 days a week. We're after every Brewer game, talking Brewers baseball with you. A little shorter on weekends, half hour during the week. But our motto, every day, yes. You want to know about baseball? You want to know about Brewer teams? I'm coming at you every day. That's why You guys out there, you everydayers, make us the number one Brewers podcast on the internet. Working hard on our end, and you guys downloading it. And when I wake up in the morning and I see the downloads and I see the subscribers and adding to my Twitter account, Chuck Freeman, Freimund. Thank you very much, very much. I'm the morning sports anchor at 1310 WIBA, longtime sports talk show host in Milwaukee. Been covering the Brewers for over 40 years for AP Radio. So they are started when I was a teenager. So I've been following this team for a long, long time, covering them as well. And I've been up through the ups and downs. And like you all, the most of the downs with these guys. But Joey Wiemer, maybe some encouragement from him. 2 rockets he hit today. Hitting the ball hard. Talked about this a couple of podcasts ago. Raised that batting average, I believe, to 214 tonight. So that's encouraging. But Julio Teheran, yeah, they lost the game. And if Teheran would have got destroyed out there, maybe I would be really, really ticked off. But he went out there and gave him some of the same stuff I saw in Atlanta. Working the corners. 5 strikeouts. Looked great. Cool, calm. Like the veteran he is. Again, you add him to the rest of this pitching staff. Now, can you score some runs? Okay, we've been talking about this, but let's face it, offense is what has prevented this team in the past from going far in the postseason. It has. And I want to think they're better than this offensively, and they got Urias back in the lineup. My God, that lineup is different every day, and Counts is just trying to shuffle things around, trying to find the right combination, trying to find guys in this lineup that are going to put together a rally, put up a crooked number once in a while. Put up some crooked numbers earlier in this series against the Reds, but and some guys contributed that you didn't expect to contribute. But man, tonight just futile. Andrew Abbott. I mean, the guy looked like Tom Glavine out there, just destroying the Brewers. And this has been a thing. I said this on the podcast last night. I said, it's not the crafty veteran that we worry about. It's the guy making his first major league start. Those are the guys that give us problems. The guys you never heard of before. Well, this guy's a top 100 MLB pipeline guy. So okay, he's no slouch out there. But still, making his major league debut, and you let this guy settle in. Just not fun to watch. So the Brewers did take 3 of 4. They have dropped out of first place because those red-hot Pittsburgh Pirates have won 6 in a row. We've seen this already from the Pirates this year. Yeah, the Pirates. Pirates on a roll. I wouldn't worry about it. Cardinals lost again. I don't know. I thought the Cardinals were turning things around, but they cannot get out of their own way. And that is a fact. I mean, the Cardinals, it's not our problem, but keep losing. The Reds, watching the Reds in this 4-game series, they're not contenders. But the Brewers could get themselves in a couple of more bats in this lineup, at least one more. And I want to think that some of these guys are going to turn around offensively, but we've seen some of the same stuff last year from these guys. So who knows? Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And Gametime, one of our great sponsors here. I've been telling you about Gametime. Find great deals, flash deals, last-minute tickets. Easy to find. Buy tickets from every kind of sporting event, any kind of event in your area. Concerts, theater, all types of sports. Flash deals, you're able to see where an image of your seat before you buy it, know exactly where you're going to go sit. And when you go there, when you download the app and you click on a seat and they show you the vision of your seat and you go to the game, it's like, yep, just what I saw on the app. Buy the tickets in a matter of seconds. No messing around. 2 taps and you are all set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone. You'll never have to dig through all your emails and all that BS. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Yeah, use this promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB. $20 off. $20 is $20, man. Gametime app, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you all you everydayers out there following us along on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman. You see it on YouTube, Chuck Freeman, Freimunt. To download us on the podcast platforms. You know, some of you guys are driving around to work, got that significant other maybe sitting on here yapping in the ear. You know, you don't want to listen to that person. Well, put us on, man. We're the alternative to that. I had to take a drink of that Diamond. Do my voice was getting hoarse. So feeling good tonight, even though the Brewers lost. Offense not happy, but encouraged about Teheran. And the Brewers will start a series with the Baltimore Orioles. They'll start a series with the Baltimore Orioles coming up on Tuesday night. 2 night games and a day game. And the first of 3 with the Orioles. 6:40 with the broadcast coming up on Tuesday night. Catch every pitch of the Brewers' hometown broadcast. Sirius XM, the SXM app. Search Brewers. All right, we'll tell you about this upcoming series with the Orioles. It's not going to be easy. That's next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. The Brewers now have 12 of the next 14 at home. They have 3 with the Orioles coming up. 3 with the Orioles. They got 3 with the bad Oakland A's this weekend. Off day Monday. 2 at Minnesota. Off day next Thursday. Week from Thursday. And then the Pirates coming in. So 12 of the next 14 at home. And those 2 road games are trips to Minnesota. So theoretically, fans can see the next 14 games. All right, because there's going to be a lot of you at Target Field watching the Brewers and Twins. And this is the time to go out to Target Field. Okay, you don't want to go up there in April, May, September. There's bad months to go up there. But when you get weather like this, now this is the time, okay, to have the open air stadium. I agree. Okay. This is fantastic. They should have put a roof over that thing right from the very beginning, but that's their problem. Okay. But going up there when you get a beautiful Minnesota night, like we have here in Wisconsin, take advantage of that. Maybe make the road trip next week. It's a Tuesday night game and a Wednesday afternoon game. Be back Thursday in time for work. Summer vacation, that's what it's for. I might be heading up there as well, coming up there next week. So thanks for joining us on the podcast network. I'm Chuck Freeman, your host here on Locked On Brewers. On the Locked On Podcast Network. Again, 3 with the Orioles, 3 with Oakland on this homestand. And the Orioles are coming in. They're pitching their ace on Tuesday night. Kyle Gibson, veteran on a 1-year deal, 7-3. His last 3 starts have been really, really good. 7 innings in many of those starts. He's going to be their best pitcher. And the Brewers will see him right off the bat. Freddie Peralta, who, despite giving up 2 home runs in his last start, pitched pretty well. Again, lack of offensive support there. But he gave him 3 runs in the first inning and stuck around for 6. I'm looking forward to Freddie Peralta pitching Tuesday. I would say take the under, okay? Brewers are always a good under team anyway, no matter who they're playing. But you got 2 good pitchers. And Wednesday starters, Dean Kramer, I've seen is projected to be, and he's not bad either. He's 7-2 or 7-3. He's pretty good. He's projected to be the starter on Wednesday. But I've seen some places where it says TBA. Corbin Burns set to go for Milwaukee. That I know. And on Thursday, they also say TBA in some sites, but I've also seen Kyle Bradish on the hill. On one of the Orioles sites, Kyle Bradish on the hill on Thursday in the afternoon game. Colin Ray pitches on Thursday. So 2 night games and a day game coming up for the Brewers this week at AmFam Field. They should have some great weather. Get out and enjoy the team. I will be there this weekend when they take on the Oakland A's, covering it. And, of course, right here on the Locked On Brewers and the Locked On Podcast Network. So they're going to see some decent pitchers, okay? The Orioles, not a great offensive team. Their best player is Austin Hayes. You'd pick one guy who's going to be their all-star right now. Offensively, it'd be Austin Hayes. Cedric Mullins went on the disabled list. Exciting player. God, he's good. Went on the disabled list last Monday. So he's not there. But they picked up Aaron Hicks because Mullins went on the disabled list. And Aaron Hicks, who he was released by the New York Yankees, he was hit like 186 with them, making some defensive plays that wasn't making defensive plays. And the Yankees players were getting disenchanted with him. They were. And You could tell when he was making some of his plays out in the outfield, the body language of some of the players, even some of his bats, not good. And Aaron Hicks is better than that. He needed a change of scenery, and he went to the rival Baltimore Orioles in the American League East, and he's off to a great start, and that's not surprising. He's a good player, and he needed a change of scenery. And oftentimes, though, you see this when a guy changes teams, he's struggling in one place, we've seen guys come here, struggling in one place, come to Julio Teheran, for example, struggled, finding success in the early days in Milwaukee, and I'm feeling real good about it, just like I'm sure Oriole fans are feeling about Aaron Hicks right now, getting off to a great start with the Orioles. So the Orioles come in 4.5 games out of first place in the American League East. They're 15 games over the 500 mark, 37-22. Second place in the best division in baseball. So going to be a tough series. We'll get to some of your tweets coming up next. Box score as well. All that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Good to have you back here on Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Good to have you along on the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On Brewers brought to you by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because we don't know what we want and we react the way we do until we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can help you take you on the journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. If you're not thinking, or if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out that brief questionnaire, get matched up with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time. No additional charge there. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB, and you're going to get 10% off your first month. So take advantage of that. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. Again, 10% off your first month. Again, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try and take advantage of the 10% off your first month. Locked On Brewers and Orioles coming up in a first of three, 6:40, that first broadcast. They're going to be going back to 7 o'clock pretty soon here. They got the 6:40s in the spring months, and once we hit summer, we're back to those 7 o'clock starts during the week as well. So 2 6:40 starts, and that first one coming up on Tuesday night. And of course, on every Brewer broadcast, you get the hometown broadcast on SiriusXM, the SXM app. Search Brewers, and you'll find us right there. And of course, we're here on Locked On Brewers after every game, talking Brewers baseball with you. Follow us on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. Download us on YouTube, Locked On Brewers. Find us on any of those podcast platforms. We are your team every day. Google, Spotify, Apple, we are all there. All right, we got to get to the box score here and see who did what. A whole lot of nothing for the Brewers, but we'll get to it here. For the Brewers offensively, and when you guess it, I cannot download this. I'm going to find it right here. Here it is. Owen Miller led off, went 1 for 4. Monasterio went 0 for 3, batted second. Bet you Andrew Monasterio didn't think he'd be batting second and playing shortstop on a first place team. Well, second place, because the Pirates have moved ahead of the Brewers, a half a game ahead. Contreras went 0 for 3. It's down to 236. Christian Yelich dropped down to the 4 spot. 0 for 4, 249. Brian Anderson in the 5th spot went 0 for 3, 2 Ks. Brian's got to get going again. You know, I know he hits the home run every once in a while, plays A++ defense at third and right field, but you're going to hit in the heart of this order. If you're going to hit 230, darn well better hit over double digits in home runs at this point. Welcome back, Luis Urias. He played third, moved over to second tonight, went 0 for 3, 1 K. Rowdy Tellez batted 7th with the lefty on the hill. He took it over. Joey Wiemer, the only guy who did anything really offensively tonight, 2 for 3 and a strikeout, raising that average to 214. First time I think I've seen that average over 210 this year. Blake Perkins, 0 for 2, 136. John Singleton pinch hit. He went 0 for 1. Blake Perkins hit the home run a couple of days ago, but struggling. but gave them the big hit the other day. Pitching side, Julio Teheran. To me, the MVP of the game. 6 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 deep flies, and 5 strikeouts on 86 pitches. 156 earned run average through 3 starts with the Brewers. Should be 3-0. Hobie Milner pitched 2/3, didn't give up a hit. Trevor McGill, 1 inning, 2 Ks, lowered that ERA to 5.19. That's the way I look for the Brewers offensively. Let's see if any of you guys had anything to follow up on some of the tweets I put out there today. Oh, let's see. Jay Zilla says, we seem to compelled to make everything in our lives reduced. Yeah. I don't know if I want to read that one or 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 that one. Mike says, really wanted to bet the Reds after seeing the Brewers facing a guy making his first start against a lefty. Yeah. A buddy of mine bet the Reds on Sunday against the Brewers, lost. And he said he was coming right back on the Reds again tonight. For the same thing that Mike said, facing a lefty. The Brewers, it's tough to sweep a 4-game series, especially on the road. And you were probably getting a good number with the Brewers. I didn't check the number, but it was probably a pretty good number. Tyler says nothing's changed in the last 10 plus years. Brewers have always struggled against pitchers they've never seen before. Grant says not going to be over with a feather. The Brewers lost to a guy making his major league debut. Ian says, is it me or do the Brewers always get dominated by pitchers making their MLB debut? Yeah, I saw that tweet earlier, right after I put mine out. Because I put a tweet out. I said, geez, Brewers getting beat by somebody making their major league debut. Come on, really? And that's the truth. And then I saw his tweet and I said, great minds think alike. Well, they did take 3 of 4 in this series. And if they would have lost the opener and come back taking the last 3, would have been happy about it. But the encouraging thing about this game, 2 things. Joey Wiemer is starting to hit the ball hard. He is. 2 doubles. And I like when I see that. The Brewers are keep on running. I know it's painful to see a guy with a 208, now 214 batting average being penciled in that lineup every day. But this is where we are. Who else is going to play? That's what we're down to. I'm talking like a guy whose team's in last place, but that's what we're down to. You can't set him down. You got to keep throwing him out there. He's learning, as my dad say. He's learning. But Julio Teheran was the MVP of the game. And for him to have 3 quality starts like this, all right, and go out there and pitch like the veteran he is. And again, when these guys come off the injured list, when Miley comes off the injured list, a back of the rotation guy right now, but he's was pitching like a front of the rotation guy this season. And Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns, the Brewers got something in that starting rotation. They need a bat or 2. Because if some of these guys aren't going to step it up, need a bat or 2. At least 1. Okay? And Willie, who's going to come back, Willie Adames is going to come back Thursday. Need him to start hitting. He's going to take some more swings down to Nashville, but he's better than batting 206. Willie, he's better than batting 206. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, we're going to have to suffer through the Joey Wiemers. Guys like that struggling. Okay? I get it. Some of these guys these young guys just, William Contreras in a slump. Brian Anderson needs to pick it up again. But we need a couple of bats. Need a couple of bats and can't get it through the organization. Some of you guys still out there are talking about Gus Frelick. He's doing great before he got hurt. But I'm saying I think they need a couple of veteran bats in this lineup. Counts is just shuffling that lineup every night, just trying to create something. Sometimes it's working. most of the time is not. But 8 shutouts for a first-place team is pathetic, guys. Absolutely pathetic. All right, the Brewers. First of a 3-game set with the Orioles. Catch them on SiriusXM, the hometown broadcast. SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Brewers, and you'll get it right there. Thank you, everybody, for following us on Twitter, watching us on YouTube, listening us on the platforms. Thank you. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on those podcast downloads, please, and you'll get notified every time we set an episode, and we are here for you after every game. And thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. My name is Chuck Freeman. Hang in there, guys. The Orioles, this is not going to be an easy series. This is a team. This is one of the best teams in the American League. I know the Orioles have been just awful the last several years, but you know what? They've turned it around. They got a good pitching staff. You know, it's going to be difficult. Got to be able to score some runs, of course. We'll talk to you after Tuesday night's game, everybody. I'm Chuck Freeman on Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. So long, everybody.